Hello and welcome to Warframe Unabridged. I'm your host Finn, and today we're going to continue our journey through the power kit of Nesha, as we take a look at how Nesha can specialize in defenses beyond anything you've seen before, and yes, that includes the Golden Boy. We will be surpassing anything that you have seen before in a loadout that I have dubbed the Paragon. In this video, we are using Nesha, the Boy on Fire. And I've got to give a shout out to Polygon Monster for his Nesha Divine skin, as well as Faven and Silverbones for their George skin, which could be yours for free. See details towards the end of the video. In this video, we're going to explore the most survivable incarnation of Nesha yet, as we combine aspects of stealth and tanking for devastating effects on enemy units. For those of you who have not seen the Golden Boy video, a link will be in the description below, as I will make a few references to that loadout, which also may provide a bit more context. I will do everything in this loadout in a way that can be easily understood. But before we get to that, let's talk about the importance of a loadout, and how it may be more important than the build itself. And with the Golden Boy, it is a very specific loadout which takes away from its versatility. It largely relies on the ability to use health conversion, and as a result, it pretty much requires that you not only have a heavily armored and strengthened Nesha, but it also makes use of the Hema for its ability to damage your health while Warding Halo is active. It also requires on the Broken Scepter, so that you don't have to rely solely on Hjeka and Drakmaster spawning wildlife that drops additional health orbs. Now without those weapons, it's all but impossible to make full use of the benefits of health conversion for Nesha. Frames like Necros have a distinct advantage when using health conversion, and that is largely due to his Despoil Augment, which allows that he self-damage in a very safe and manageable way. And if you're ever worried that he might corner himself with little to no health, you can always use Arcane Pulse, so that your health orbs not only provide 450 armor each with health conversion, but with a maxed out pulse set, you're going to get an additional 100 health from each orb, potentially. It is for that reason, without weapon mechanics to make health conversion work for you, it is only truly optimal with Necros, or very, very specific loadouts. Now, Inaros, for example, can self-damage with his ultimate, but without the Broken Scepter, he has no means of producing health orbs. Oberon can produce health orbs by killing with his ultimate, but he has no way to safely self-damage unless he uses the reload mechanic on the Hema. With Oberon's recent buff, it also became very difficult to make use of health conversion, as you heal too quickly to even have a need for the fleeting effects of health conversion. Because of this, many frames come to an impasse when it comes to using health conversion, and may as well leave it be. Some frames, however, gain such a great benefit from health conversion, and that may well be worth it to use a full conversion loadout. Among those frames, I would list Frost, who can use health conversion to help his snow globe scale; Atlas, who can use it to make more powerful tectonics, as well as more powerful rumblers; Inaros, who can safely self-damage, making it easier for him to retrieve orbs than many; Rhino, who can mirror the Golden Boy loadout for an absurd iron skin rating; and of course, Nesha himself. What sets Rhino and Nesha apart, though, is the layer of health that they produce, which not only scales with the armor buff from health conversion, but it also prevents them from losing health conversion charges for as long as the layer of health is active, because it is the layer being damaged rather than you. Unfortunately, this comes with a few drawbacks as well. For instance, Nesha cannot benefit from Arcane Avenger, Grace, Barrier, Agility, Aegis, or Guardian while the Warding Halo is active, because he is technically not taking damage. So with that being the case, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Now what's interesting to me is how you do not have to be the one that activates your arcanes in many instances. For example, a critical hit from a melee can activate Arcane Acceleration, which will give you more fire rate on your primary. More importantly, companions of all types can manage this as well. A Sentinel can activate Arcane Strike by shooting an enemy, or Arcane Fury if they land a critical hit. When we learn how to make use of these mechanics, it makes our ability to work on a loadout to the next level. And on that note, let's take a look at the Paragon itself. For this build, we use Power Drift, Gladiator Aegis, Intensify, Transient Fortitude, Steel Fiber, Armored Agility, Health Conversion, and Stand United. For our primary, I would select something that makes you comfortable. I personally am trying out the Astilla on this one. For our secondary, I will be using the Fusilier, armed with Concealed Explosives, and while these are not mandatory, self-damage is for this loadout, so I equip them with Concealed Explosives. For our melee, we will be using the Croaker, which has quickly replaced the Dakra Prime and the Prisma Scanna as my favorite single-handed sword. And and it is armed with Crimson Dervish and Finishing Touch. For our companion, we will be using the Sahasa Kubrow specifically. For our arcanes, we will be using both Arcane Trickery and Arcane Ultimatum. And finally, for our focus school, we have Unairu active. The rationale behind this loadout is immense durability and invisibility. As you may have seen, we use literally every mod for armor and every mod for power strength currently available, with the exception of Growing Power. The purpose of this is so that the Omega Halo is ready to go, but periodically we will also be using the power of invisibility to make us entirely untargetable. The methodology is simple. You enter a mission and immediately damage yourself. This way you have less than 80% of your maximum health, and your Sahasa Kubrow will soon dig up items, but the dig will prioritize according to your needs. This means that if you are fully healed with low energy, it will give you energy. If you have full health and energy, it will give you ammo and credits. And if you have less than 80% of your maximum health, your Sahasa will summon between 2 and 3 health orbs, exactly what you will need to max out your health conversion armor buff. From there, activate Unairu, which will further buff your armor, and you will then have the Omega Halo, with over 20,000 health to burn through, only to recast afterward. To occasionally buff my Halo further while in mid-combat, I have brought along the Crimson Dervish stance on account of the combo Coiling Impale. If executed properly, which is painfully simple, you will do a finisher attack on target's hit. Now with range of some form equipped, this weapon will posture 2 or 3 enemies for finisher. Needless to say, I will eventually be getting my hands on Arcane Might for my Zaws. But at the end of the day, if I need to recast my Halo, and even with over 20,000 health, you will still need to from time to time, but a maxed ultimatum is guaranteed on every finisher. It lasts a good while, and it's going to add 60% to your base armor. But Finn, why even bring a primary if you aren't planning to use it? Well, I have that covered. I'm sure that there are some of you who may think that I've wasted my companion slot for a single trip to summon easy health orbs, but that's really only a side role that the Sahasa performs. Remember when I said that companions can activate your arcanes? Well, as luck would have it, Ferocity, the second power of the Hasa, can activate both Ultimatum and Trickery, simultaneously sometimes. But the Precept counts as a finisher attack, which means that periodically you will be gaining a buff to your armor from your Kubrow, mauling enemies. And it doesn't matter if you're doing your melee combo or not. If you're firing off your shotgun, you can still periodically go invisible and get an armor buff. But Finn, why not just bring a Horus Kubrow? Stock has like a 2-minute duration, right? Well, the aim of this loadout is to kill and not be killed. Stock deactivates as soon as you attack. Using the Sahasa to activate Arcane Trickery guarantees that I continue to attack without slowing. If you're doing a speed run or a mission that doesn't require much killing, you know what? Fine, bring a Horus. But in the meantime, this is going to be the more combat-ready loadout. But Finn, why not use the Vacor Sidon to do a mass blinding effect? Wouldn't that make it super easy? The answer is because you can't block while using Warding Halo. Oh sure, you can stand there and perform the animation, but being able to block with Warding Halo would be broke as hell. Fathom having the ability to summon a 20,000 Omega Halo and being able to simply hold down a button to mitigate 85% of incoming damage. For that reason, we can't use the Sidon's passive while still using a Halo. What about if the Halo is not active? Well, every time you take damage, whether you're blocking 85% of the incoming damage or not, it's going to remove your health conversion charges, and that is going to be a lot more difficult to renew. Now this information comes with a warning. It's possible to use this in a squad, but it's best used solo. There are far too many ways that this could go wrong in a squad. For instance, a Trinity may heal you before you can pick up your health orbs, and then you'd have to whittle down your own Halo just to self-damage, and then she might heal you again as soon as she sees it. Alternatively, an Oberon may use Renewal to regen your health faster, but the most likely scenario is entering a squad where someone has Rejuvenation. It's a pain in the ass to keep your health damaged when you have Rejuvenation in a squad. It's too much of a risk because you gotta get it really low, because your Sahasa will not dig anything up if you've recently taken damage. On the other hand, there are also frames that benefit this loadout, like Necros, Equinox, Ivara, Excalibur, and Mirage, with how easily they can open enemies to finishers or produce health orbs more easily. On the other hand, there are frames that benefit this loadout, like Necros, Equinox, Ivara, Excalibur, and Mirage, with how easily they can open enemies to finishers or produce health orbs. Running solo, on the other hand, will give plenty of time to activate the Omega Halo, and between the massive health pool you will have on your Warding Halo and periodically going invisible due to Trickery, you will have some serious survivability. And that's all there is to the Paragon. I do hope you've enjoyed the latest installment of Warframe Unabridged. I realize that I have a smaller community than others, but I still would love to do a raffle giveaway of Nesha, including the Circa helmet, or if you already have these items, I would be happy to gift you one of the Tennogen items, including the Nesha Divine skin by Polygon Monster, or Nesha George by Faven and Silverbones. Need only comment your PlayStation in-game alias or your Xbox gamer tag, and include a fun fact about the mythological or historical Nesha. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate, and I don't mind if you include something that you've seen someone say before, so long as it's in relation to Nesha. You can follow me on Twitter using the link in the description. If you like what we do here, be certain to like and share our videos if you think others can benefit from them. If you particularly love us, you can always hit the subscribe button or the notification button for more Warframe content and instant gratification. But until next time, this is Finn, signing off.